Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor, helping you realize your dream of owning a home or investing in one. Today, I want to talk to you guys about subject to. You see, we have entered into a market right now in real estate where that is one of the best strategies to implement. Again, you must use precaution in order to do so. Now, I figured I'd explain a little bit more in detail exactly what subject to is. Subject to is normally done when someone, particularly the seller, is found themselves in some type of financial trouble or strain. When this is the case, the investor can go ahead and take over their mortgage payments. Most people who want to do this are people who just inherited property in another state and maybe they're not interested in real estate at all. They don't want to have anything to do with the property that they just inherited. Or they can be people who have lost their jobs recently and they are finding it hard to make the mortgage payments. Or they can be people who are currently in foreclosure. Or they can be people who are out of state or out of country property owners, and their property manager just screwed them. So they're like a little bit frustrated and angry, and they just don't want to have anything to do with the property anymore. So what happens is that an investor approaches them either by sending them a letter, and normally if you go to there's places that will sell foreclosure list, or you can actually go to the websites where they are foreclosing on people, go to the courts, and you can see a list of property that's either going to or currently in foreclosure court. You can contact the owners that way. Or you can also go to probate court, I believe, and send them letters and find out what their status is and see if they're willing to let you do a deal called subject to. You see, the other thing is this. If the seller tries to sell the house outright, they're going to be hit with a 40% tax. However, if they do subject to, it may not be so high. Definitely, of course, because laws differ from state to state, definitely double check that with your accountant to be on the safe side. But typically that seems to be the situation. And what happens is, as mentioned before, the investor takes title to the property, but the loan stays in the seller's name. So what is the benefit? The benefit to you is you're not paying full price for the property. You're getting the property at a discount, number one. And number two, there's typically no credit check. A lot of times, in certain situations, you may have the entire amount in a savings account, and all you have to do is just pay it off at one time. However, you may not have that much money, but you may have, let's say, a sizable down payment, and you are able to make the month-to-month mortgage payments. So it's still less, it's still cheaper, and it's still easier than, let's say, if you went the traditional route. The benefit that the seller has is that they get to get this property off their hands, so to speak. It also doesn't mess up their credit if they are in foreclosure court. You understand? So what you need to do, particularly the seller, is they need to make sure that the lender and their insurance agree that this is okay for this type of deal to proceed. Because they may have something in the contract that says, no, you are not allowed to do subject to. So definitely check. That's one of the reasons why you should definitely have a lawyer in these type of deals. I would not, even though there's a lot of boilerplate forms here on the internet, I would still double check with the lawyer before proceeding that way. Also, if you do have a mentor, get a mentor in that city and state that has already done subject to deals before you go ahead and do it. Okay? As far as the insurance is concerned, if the insurance company agrees, you want to ask the seller or have it in the contract that your name has to also be on the insurance for the home, just to cover bases. In addition, you should make sure that the seller has not filed for bankruptcy. There are some lawyers that can pretty much find that out for you. But the reason why you want to do that is because if they have filed for bankruptcy, then the courts can actually take the house away from both of you. So that's why that is very, very important. What some people do though, is I've heard that some people put it in a trust so that this way, if the seller does apply for bankruptcy, the court can't touch the trust, and then you still have access to the house. Please also note one other risk that's involved with subject to deals is that the seller can still foreclose on the property and get the property back from you. So again, you have to make sure you have the proper language in your contract to prevent something like that from happening. And normally I would say that probably happens when a person has missed some payments. So if you're going to go into a deal like this, try and make sure you make your payments on time and don't be like 30 days late, because that does not look good at all. And the seller may say, you know what, I can't trust you, and go ahead and foreclose on the property on you. And then you will lose out on your investment. So folks, that's all I have for you. Hopefully the information that I've just shared will help you make smart financial moves. Remember, we are in the right market for this type of strategy. However, you should consider whether or not this strategy is right for you. Why? Because it requires that you do some wholesaling, if you will. There's going to be very few realtors out there that will be able to assist you with that. You might be able to find some, but for the most part, it's going to require that you do some wholesaling. Okay? So my friends, please feel free to share this amongst your family and friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.